to ask me how long I've been doing this, but
yes.
that's the main reason why I've been doing this for so long.
Yes.
It's not because of accolades or having a hit record. I really love music.
Over 10 years, over 11 years, man, you've hit the double-digit mark. You've hit a mark successfully. A lot of artists don't really, they can't hit at that level. You know what I mean? So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And with that being said, granted, you just said something earlier that I want to touch on, and you mentioned hip hop as something that wasn't ours, and I understand what you mean by that, in that it's not necessarily a genre that is native.
Yeah. This is your boy Wale Music TV. Send subscribe my channel. Wanna subscribe him? If you wanna click a bell on the video be out tomorrow. I want the first person to share. If you wanna drop a comment to us for Wale Music TV. Shatta Wale TV. I have more Shatta Wale. No news, no update, no everything. Be fun. Shatta Wale will be. I want to come what the platform you do. And si channel subscribe, next share. No better. And I was still waiting me day. Thank you.
Studio album. That is incredible. Congratulations. Congratulations. Now, again, I opened up the show by just talking about how we're celebrating 50 years of hip hop this year. What does that mean to you as, again, one of the continent's most influential artists in that genre?
It is definitely a very big deal because that's what got me to this point. That's basically what Sarkodie is about. And if you read my bio, I think Twitter or Instagram, I said music has everything to do with it. And then I write rap because I love to rap. And that is what made me, or has made me Sarkodie. And me sitting here today with you and doing all these amazing things, just do hip hop. And something I fell in love with as a young kid. So my life literally is tied to hip hop. And to see it grow this long, and I think it's gonna go longer than that. It's a great time.
Yeah.
To celebrate a genre that actually put food on the table for a lot of people.
For sure. I know you've talked a lot about how writing rhymes and writing raps was what helped you through a lot of the different stages in your life. Walk us, just through your catalog and the different projects that you've put out, and exactly, something that it helped you with at that time. I know you talked about your parents splitting up very early. Yeah, walk us a little bit through how music has been your therapeutic journey.
Yes, so
people will talk about you. I didn't probably without you. So let me show
you. Freestyle, I love the freestyle. Okay, hold on, I'll take that exclusive.
Alright, so from get-go, I've been a type that don't express much. I don't really express much, but then I soak in a lot of situations, and then I express emotions too different. So it started by writing, not just shooting music, just writing thoughts and what I felt. Then, of course, we knew hip hop music, but I still felt like it was super far from us because it was like from somewhere elsewhere. That's coming from America. So I felt like, okay, I love it, but it's not mine. So it's not ours. Then, so I was writing in general. It's like a diary or wrapping up your day and what happens in the day.
Journaling, right?
Exactly, journaling. True. Then I had hip hop in Ghana, in my native town called Hip Life. So it's hip hop and high life. That's our indigenous music.
Right.
And big shouts to Reggie Rockstone or Rap for Lord Kenya. These guys just started doing that. I'm like, okay, now I can do it. So I can start channeling the writing into that. So that became like an escape. And this is like an art form where I could say things that I wouldn't say.
Ordinarily.
Speaking, exactly.
Right.
So it just became a way that I pour my heart out, and then like an outlet.
An outlet. Yeah. Exactly.
So that's how it started for me.
Right.
Then I realized you can get paid from this. Like, okay, and that's the better icing on the cake.
What do they say? If you do something you love, you never have to work a day in your life, right?
Because it doesn't get better than that.
Right.
The fact that I love it makes me, and that's why I think you might get there to ask me how long I've been doing this. But that's the main reason why I've been doing this for so long. It's not because of accolades or having a hit record. I really love music.
Over 10 years, over 11 years, man, you've hit the double-digit mark. You've hit a mark successfully. A lot of artists don't really, they can't hit at that level. You know what I mean? So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And with that being said, granted, you just said something earlier that I want to touch on, and you mentioned hip hop as something that wasn't ours, and I understand what you mean by that, in that it's not necessarily a genre that is native to our lands, but whenever you started out your career, were you in your mind, were you looking at, being a formative, like, cultural part of that? Like, were you looking at being the foundation of the genre, or were you just like, you know what, let me just do this thing and see, where it takes me? Or what was your MO when you first started out? Was it just sort of like,
To be very honest, I don't think I had like a cut out plan. I just loved it and I was just doing it. One thing I knew for sure, one thing I was very particular about or very intentional about is the fact that I wanted to rap in my native tongue.
Yes.
That was deliberate. Yes. That I was like, to be honest, I started rapping in English. That's how I started. But then I always felt like I had to like better myself to a certain point. When I listen to an American rapper rapping, saying stuff that I don't know, but then I have to research to understand what he's talking about, it comes effortless. But when I look at the technical bit of it, I think I could be better than him. But the only difference is he's saying stuff that people understand. Right. And when I rap the same language, it's hard to go toe to toe. That's his, and I think it's a cheat, because that's his day to day.
That's their day to day language. So,
But when you think about technical bit of it, flow, delivery, and everything, I think I got it. But then I'm like, okay. Yeah. So when I heard a rap for Lord Kenya rapping in Chi, I'm like, okay, this is the right time. Right. Then I stuck to that, and also believed that I wanted to go past. It was a crazy idea to even have the fact that you want to rap in your native tongue and still be able to cross Ghana over per se. Right. Which was deliberate as well. Right. I deliberately worked on that to work on the flow so that people can appreciate without understanding what you're saying and go like, I don't get it, but
I still like that.
Sounds good.
Now let's stop there. Let's put a pin right there, because we talk a lot about the crossover, and somebody who has had a lot to say about the state of African music now and the state of the continent is obviously Akon, who has succeeded in his many different ways, in the music industry as a mogul, as an artist, and whatever have you. And so that was among the first artists who offered you a deal. Is that correct? And so this is I know I've read the story, but not from your perspective. And so tell us a little bit about how that interaction begun and how that went for you.
As I said, when I took my best international flow on the BET stage, I said big shouts to Akon, because he saw it way before a lot of people saw it. I think Akon is a few people, or a few Africans in the diaspora who still had the continent at heart at their peak. It wasn't like, he was looking for a way to stay relevant. No, he was relevant. He didn't.
He didn't have to. Exactly. He wasn't at that time where he had.
He still reached out. For me, I got close to him because one of his team, probably maybe his manager, personal manager, Babs is Ghanaian, so it helped. So he looked out for his people in Ghana, and who got the opportunity, me. Then he put us together. We met in Nigeria. We kept on from there. So we were supposed to officially. So what he did was co-sign and endorse, and that definitely did help Sarkodie, the brand, because way back it was not a thing where African artists were getting even co-signing from anybody in the States. So,
do you feel like that culture has changed now, though? Yeah.
Yes.
For the better or for the worse?
Better, but also we just have to be careful where it's going. We just have to make sure that we don't get carried away with everything that's happening, and then make sure we stand our grounds and make sure we represent it in the right way. Right. But definitely, from where it was to where it is right now, this is what we were praying for. Right. That our sound will be well dominated, and then that's what's happening at this point. Right. Yeah. So big shouts to Akon. He definitely gave back to Africa with his clout that he had at that point. Did a record with P Square, huge record. Right. Same with Rick Ross and P Square together.
And the likes, right?
Yeah. So definitely that was the path that I was supposed to be on with Akon. Yeah. Just few things in between there didn't go well, but one thing I say is everything happens for a reason. He came into my life to change my view.
Yeah, your perspective on
music. Yeah. To see that there's way more bigger than what I'm doing. Right. When Akon came in, I was like, listen, if Akon can actually listen to my music,
then a lot of people can too.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. And, one thing that you talked about that he talked about was at the time, you were focused on, like you said, uplifting people by incorporating the language and whatever have you. And his commentary was that at that time you were focused on Ghana and maybe not necessarily like the international landscape. If you were to go back and did it again, would you change your journey in any way?
No, definitely still stick to what I believed in. I believe in my instincts a lot, and it always works for me. It's like 99% time right. So I don't doubt it. I just felt at that point that I needed to like put a stamp on my name as far as Ghana and Africa is concerned, then I can move from that, to the next stage. Because it's not always going to be a successful story just because you have a crossover opportunity.
Right.
It's an opportunity. It's
right.
not necessarily meaning you're going to make it.
Given, right. Exactly. And I think that's something I talk about all the time, especially as a DJ, as a music enthusiast, as an exec in my mind, and whatever have you, is that I wish that a lot of artists would focus on the continental 54, countries in Africa. That's why my show is called Africa's 54, is because
that's your core.
That's your core. You know what I mean? No matter where you go, no matter what you do, home will always hold you down. You know what I mean? And I think for you've had so many of those moments, especially, let's talk about last year at Global Citizen. And, obviously, my favorite Sarkodie record, I have a long list, we'll talk about that here in a minute, but Adonai just hits different in many different, I mean, it's like praise and worship music for me, it's turn up music at times, but seeing you on that stage, not even have to sing a word of that song, that crowd carried it for you. Talk to us about that moment and how gratifying that must have been for you, just in knowing that your people got mad love for you, you know?
It's crazy. It's always, people think because I perform a lot, I should get used to it. But trust me, it's always overwhelming when I'm out there to still see people. And Adonai definitely did a lot for me, doing a lot for me, I was hard on myself in the beginning, trying to chase something bigger than Adonai, but I think that's the mistake we do. It's still my music. It's not somebody else's music. So, years to come is still going to be my biggest record, and God bless me with that song. I think few artists can get that. Some artists can have songs that people who are into you know about. So you don't have to be a SAP fan to know Adonai. To know Adonai. Exactly. And
that's true. That's how you know your music has worked, wouldn't you say?
Exactly. So, and it's really hard to have that one.
Yeah.
So to have that, and especially from a rapper, it's really hard. So I thank God for that. And yes, it was really a very beautiful moment. A big shout out to Global Citizen for choosing me to grace the stage. It was, we were talking about it even just today, that I wanted to do something like that. They chose the right location, set it up, had the right people, the right energy, the great sound.
Just a lot of,
and anybody in your profession, when you're being provided with the necessary tools that you really, really need to work with.
The best of the best.
Exactly. Sound, everything, just light and everything just works so perfect.